Let's explore a single, hypothetical day in the very near future. A day where the world is teetering on a razor's edge. You've got a massive escalation in the Middle East on one side. On the other, the war in Ukraine is getting even more intense. We're going to break down what happens when all these global crises start to collide at once.
So the date we're zoning in on is Saturday, March 14, 2026. This isn't just another day. It's a moment where all these different global flashpoints, they're not just simmering anymore. No, they are flat out igniting.
And that brings us to the real heart of the matter, the big question we're looking at today. What actually happens when all the world's crises, we're talking geopolitical, economic, and yeah, even biological, all boil over at the exact same time?
Okay, let's start at the epicenter. We're heading to the Middle East, a region that on this day has become a tinderbox of direct military conflict, and it is escalating with breathtaking speed.
And just look at the speed of these events. It kicks off with the U.S. confirming these huge strikes on Iran's Karg Island. Iran's response? It's immediate. Boom. They declare major UAE ports legitimate targets. This, of course, forces the U.S. to make a countermove, calling on its allies to help break the Iranian blockade of the Strait of Hormuz, the world's most critical oil choke point. And while all this is happening, Israel signals a major expansion of its ground war in Lebanon. It's just this incredibly dangerous cascade of actions and reactions.
Tehran's next move is what really blows the doors off the conflict. They accuse the U.S. of launching attacks from UAE soil and warn civilians to evacuate. Just like that, they've pulled a major regional economic power right into the crosshairs.
And the consequences, well, they are immediate and they are stark. The Pentagon confirms the tragic deaths of 6 service members in a plane crash in Iraq. At the same time, you can see the strategic chess match playing out, with the U.S. making a point of saying it's spared oil terminals, trying to keep the economic fallout from getting even worse. But the chaos just keeps spinning, as a missile from who knows where strikes the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad.
And then, just when you think things can't get any more complicated, they do. In a really surprising move, Hamas publicly calls on Iran to stop its attacks on other Middle Eastern nations. Now, they still say Iran has a right to self-defense, but this public break, it just shows you that deep fractures are starting to appear in what everyone thought were rock-solid alliances.
So, while the Middle East is basically on fire thousands of miles away over in Europe, the war in Ukraine is simultaneously hitting a dangerous and very different new phase.
You've got 2 completely different playbooks here. Russia is all in on a campaign of shock and awe, using its absolute best missiles to just overwhelm cities. Ukraine, on the other hand, is getting better and better at asymmetrical warfare, basically using smaller, smarter tools like long-range drones to hit really high-value economic targets deep inside Russia.
You can see Russia's escalation in its weapon choice. I mean, we're talking about their top-shelf stuff, incredibly fast Zircon hypersonic missiles, Caliber cruise missiles. These aren't just being used on the battlefield. They're being used to terrorize cities, causing terrible civilian casualties and knocking out the power in the capital, Kyiv.
But Ukraine is punching back, and they're hitting Russia right where it hurts, its economy. This successful drone strike on a huge oil refinery isn't just a military win. No, it's a direct blow to Russia's wallet, to its ability to even fund the war. This is literally economic warfare, conducted by drone.
Okay, so you've got these 2 massive conflicts raging, but of course, they aren't happening in a vacuum. They are sending these powerful shockwaves across the entire globe, and they're affecting everything from the price of gas to international diplomacy.
The most immediate impact, you guessed it, the price of oil. With Iran's blockade of the Strait of Hormuz, global crude prices have shot up to their highest point in 4 years. That is a direct hit to the global economy.
And this crisis, it triggers an immediate and kind of wild geopolitical scramble. With oil from the Middle East threatened, the U.S. makes a stunning diplomatic U-turn. For the first time since 2019, the American flag goes up at the embassy in Caracas, Venezuela. And why? It's a crystal-clear strategic move to get Venezuelan oil back on the market and hopefully ease some of that price pressure. When the world's attention is fixed on 2 giant fires, other long-simmering problems tend to see an opportunity to boil over. So you have North Korea launching a barrage of ballistic missiles, protesting U.S. military exercises while nobody's really looking. And meanwhile in Cuba, protests over blackouts and food shortages, which are only made worse by all this instability, are being met with arrests.
But as all of this geopolitical drama is unfolding, another threat, one that is entirely non-human, is quietly starting to emerge in the background, almost completely unnoticed.
Yep,
While the world is totally consumed by human conflict, a very different and very dangerous storyline is developing, and it has its own profound consequences. And here it is, the crucial development. Experts in California are reporting that the H5N1 bird flu virus has jumped species. It's now infecting mammals, specifically sea otters and sea lions. This is a deeply, deeply concerning step in how a virus evolves, because a virus that can spread easily between mammals is one huge step closer to being able to spread between humans. And it's happening when global health systems are already stretched to their absolute limit.
Which leaves us right here with one final unsettling question. On a day like March 14, 2026, with geopolitical fires, economic fires, and biological fires all burning at once, all demanding our attention, which one do you even watch, and which one has the potential to burn the brightest?